Hello and Happy New Year to all of you. Welcome back to Reason News, where we're turning our attention to the G20 Summit in South Africa. Get ready for a global gathering with major implications. South Africa is set to host the G20 Summit this year, marking the first time an African nation will lead this influential group. And now South Africa just stepped into the world stage as the brand new president of the G20. It's a historic moment for South Africa and the entire African continent to take the center stage and shape the global agenda. That's right. For the first time ever, an African nation is leading this powerful group of the world's biggest economies. And get this, it's a historic handover from Brazil, marking a symbolic shift of influence to the global south.
We have a responsibility to do better. It is with this hope that I pass the gavel of the G20 Presidency to President Ramaphosa. This is no ordinary handover of the presidency. It is the concrete expression of the historical, economic, social, and cultural bonds that unite Latin America and Africa.
South Africa held a media launch that was all about showcasing the nation's unique spirit and vision for the future. President Cyril Ramaphosa kicked things off last year, highlighting South Africa's commitment to tackling global challenges like climate change, poverty, and inequality. He also emphasized the importance of African voices being heard on the global stage.
We launched our presidency 2 days ago on the 1st of December. As a country, we assumed the presidency of this group of countries. This group of countries, called the G20, comprises many of the world's largest developed and developing economies. It was established to tackle pressing global economic and financial challenges that were facing the world at the time. Together, G20 members account for around 85% of the world's GDP and 75% of world trading processes. And the grouping therefore plays a critical role in influencing global policy making. It also fosters global economic stability in the decisions that it takes. And decisions that are taken by the G20 often and always have a direct impact on the lives of all members of the global community, as the presence of the G20 spans a huge part of the world. It has a wide agenda that now includes, yes, financial matters, but also trade, sustainability, development, health, agriculture, energy, environment, climate change, and also anti-corruption.
South Africa's G20 presidency has a strong focus on inclusivity and sustainable development. They're pushing for a greener global economy, advocating for policies that promote renewable energy and reduce carbon emissions. They're also calling for greater support for developing nations, demanding increased investment in infrastructure, education, and healthcare to close the gap between the global north and south. And they're not stopping there. South Africa is pushing for increased cooperation among G20 members, emphasizing the need for collaborative solutions to global challenges.
Our approach to the G20 summit is underpinned by inclusivity. We want to include all voices, all views, and all structures as much as we possibly can. Africa is our home. And we are going to seek to make this G20 an Africa-focused G20.
The media launch wasn't just about speeches and policy. It was a celebration of South African culture. Journalists from around the world got a taste of Mzansi magic with vibrant displays of art, music, and dance. This G20 presidency is a huge deal for South Africa and the entire African continent. It's a chance to shine a spotlight on the challenges and opportunities facing the developing world and to push for a more equitable and sustainable future for all. It's about amplifying the voices of those who have been marginalized and ensuring that the needs and aspirations of the global South are at the forefront of the global agenda. Now, South Africa is a major economic player. It boasts the second largest economy in Africa and plays a crucial role in trade and investment across the continent. Think of it as the gateway to Africa, connecting the world to a rapidly growing market. But it's not just about the money. South Africa is also a beacon of democracy and political stability in a region that's often faced turmoil. It's a key player in international diplomacy and peacekeeping efforts, making it a valuable voice in global discussions. And let's not forget, South Africa is a powerful advocate for the developing world. It champions the needs and concerns of countries often overlooked in global forums, pushing for a fairer and more equitable world order.
In 2007, South Africa chaired the Secretariat of the G20, but at that point, the G20 was mainly focused on international finance, so it was a finance ministers meeting, finance ministers and heads of central banks. The G20 agenda has expanded quite dramatically since then to include a number of international issues, both around the economy, but also the environment, food security, and other aspects of global governance. And so it's a much bigger meeting. And South Africa is hosting it in 2025, or holding the presidency in 2025 is hugely significant. South Africa is the only sovereign state that is from the African continent that's a member of the G20. Since 2023, the AU has been a member in the same way that the EU is a member of the G20. But South Africa is the only individual African state that is a member of the G20, and this is going to be the first G20 that is hosted on African soil. And so all of the meetings, or the majority of the all the meetings that will take place in 2025 will take place in Africa, all of them, the majority of them in South Africa. And then there is a plan for one of the meetings to be taking place at the AU's headquarters in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. So in many ways, this is Africa's G20, a way of showcasing the continent and not just South Africa as well. South Africa's theme for this year, for its G20 presidency, is solidarity, equality, and sustainability. And the three big priorities, the first priority, which encompasses a number of economic issues, it's on inclusive economic growth, on industrialization, employment, and inequality. And the issues around the African debt crisis will all fall under that priority. The second priority, which I think is a very important one, particularly for the continent, is on food security. And we've seen just how badly affected the continent was around, with the Russia-Ukraine war in 2022, but also with supply chain crises in the aftermath of the COVID-19 crisis, so issues around food security. And that also encompasses all sorts of things around, climate change effects on food security as well. And then the third priority is on artificial intelligence and innovation for sustainable development, and really this concern that Africa is being left behind in the big technological revolution that's taking place currently, and so wanting to really have a more inclusive approach to that kind of technological development. Something that I just want to highlight is that the last four meetings of the G20, so the last four presidencies rather of the G20, have been in developing countries with sort of like-minded view on world and international relations. So it was Indonesia in 2022, India in 2023, Brazil in 2024, and then there'll be South Africa in 2025. And these four countries have tried to have agendas that build on each other in the interest of the global South as a whole.
South Africa's presence in the G20 is a testament to its economic strength, political influence, and commitment to a better future for all. It's a win for South Africa, a win for Africa, and a win for the world. The BRICS people are setting the record straight. They're saying loud and clear that their goals don't clash with the G20's mission. In fact, they're all about supporting the G20 as the main stage for tackling the world's biggest economic challenges. They're also emphasizing the G20's importance as a platform for international cooperation, fixing those tricky global money problems. Think inflation, trade wars, and that whole debt crisis thing. So what's the difference then? Well, the BRICS nations have their own focus. They're all about boosting economic growth within their own bloc, increasing trade amongst themselves, and giving developing countries a bigger say in the global economy. But here's the thing, they see their work as complementary to the G20. It's like a tag team effort with both groups working towards a more stable and prosperous global economy. It's all about collaboration, not competition, in the quest for a better economic future for everyone. Thank you for watching today's episode. Stay tuned to Reason News for more in-depth analysis on the global economy and the forces shaping our world. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for your weekly dose of news and views. Thank you.